Welcome to tonight's workshop. Just give you a little idea. I try to respond to most of your questions, but there are so many. Actually, it's not too many, but 15 of them. But actually, each one or two of them could be a workshop, like dating. Usually, I have a 2.5-hour workshop on dating. But now we're talking about how to handle if your kids are maybe with possible dating prospect or something like that. So, and I will try to be on time and finish it on time because the youth fellowship ends at 9:30, is it? But they will be late, right? 9:45? But you cannot stand a 2-hour workshop because I've experienced it. People doze off. And I remember there was one time, I can't remember. One of the members came up to me and said, "Oh, yeah, Walter, it's a nice workshop, but it's too long. It's very difficult for me to try not to sleep." Okay, today's title is Braving the Growth Journey with Your Teenager. It's a journey that we all grow together. Because like I was talking to Angela, many years ago, her kids was like little kids, baby, and then now we grow together, and now it's like talking about teenager. And in fact, parents grow together with your kids. But before we start, how many of you think that your kids or your kid is troublesome or brings you a lot of headache? How many of you? Okay, so the others, please exit the door because you have no problem. Okay, I want to bring you to questions. Try to share what you appreciate, admire, and love about the kid who gives you the most headaches. Okay, maybe it's not like too bad, but you can think of some headaches. But today, as we begin this workshop, I don't want you to start with a negative tone and say, "Yeah, they're bad, and now I'm coming to learn of something that I can really tame you." No, but every one of them is very precious, and they have a lot of good things that we should cherish, appreciate, admire, love. So maybe 2-2, just pair up with your neighbor. But if you want to hear other couples or other family, then if your husband and wife are sitting together, then you can pair up with someone else so that you can, learn about somebody else's family. Okay, I give each one of you 1 minute. And then, so 2-2, so you share 1 minute, 2. Oh, okay, even number, so good. And then, how about that? The one who dressed more will share first, and then I will say, okay, stop, then switch, then the other person will start talking. Oops. Yeah. Just share with, 2-2. Okay. Share with your neighbor, like a bus group, 2-2, what you appreciate, admire, love about the kid who gives you the most headache, and the person who dressed more will share first. Okay, ready? 1 minute. If you finish before 1 minute, you have to keep on talking and elaborating until I say switch. Okay, ready? Go. Okay. Is there enough time? Probably is enough. If I'm asking you to share what you hate or what annoys you, maybe you need another 5 minutes or so. I read a book. I think the title is Bringing Up Adolescents or something like that by Dr. Dennis Rainey. How he started the book, he used the story of his experience in Promise Keeper. Promise Keeper is like a big convention with like thousands of people. And that time, they were in Denver, Colorado, with 50,000 audience in that stadium. But everybody was watching intensely because on the field, Dennis has asked people to set up different animal traps, about a dozen of them. Some are as big, like to catch a bear, as big, really big, that takes 3 people to set it up. And there are some like beaver traps and smaller, but it's very dangerous. So he set it up like in the grass field. And there's a little young person over there, 15-year-old, blindfolded. And on these animal traps, each one of them label one of the traps that teenagers may face in the society, such as sexual immorality, such as drugs, alcohol, pornography, and all these things, all labeled. And then next to the podium, Dennis stood there, and also with the father of the teenager. So the game is, or the demonstration is, the teenager, his name is Trent, he needs to be blindfolded and then standing there with traps around. Of course, it's a very big field. But then the father, about 25 feet away from the kid, will give order through the microphone and say, okay, turn left, walk 10 steps, and then turn right, and so on and so forth. So as the father was telling the kid how to walk, and then the kid just walked casually, like taking a step here, taking a step there. But then, before long, he was standing very close to a bear trap that is really humongous. It just break his leg in seconds. So the father was very anxious. And what did he do? He just said, stop! Hold on, I'll be there. So everybody was quiet. And then this father, Tom, just rushed over and then went around the traps and then went in front of Trent and then whispered in his ear. And then from that time onward, he stood in front of Trent, and then Trent put his hand on his father's shoulder, and then step by step, following, and sometimes it's so close that hitting his father's heel, but step by step, the father let him go around the traps and then back to the pulpit, the podium, and then everybody was so quiet, and one man just randomly just clapped. And then everybody clapped together, and then, wow, the whole stadium, 50,000 men, just uproar and then cheering, the clapping, applauding. It's just so exciting. And then Dennis Rainey, in his mic, he concluded with the following sentence, speaking to the father, and he said, man, that's what God called us to as fathers, to guide our children through adolescence, the most dangerous period of our children's life. In fact, it is so true. Like life is like a path, a journey that we need to go through, and everybody will go through, but especially for adolescents, there are so many changes in their life. There are so many adjustments that they need to make. The road has road sign of temptation, and then the peer pressure. They will get into romantic relationship dating, and then identity crisis, communication, relationship, faith, and a lot. And that's why today's title is Braving the Growth Journey with Your Teen. We are not just standing away 20 feet away and say, hey, go straight, turn right, turn left. But our kids need us to be there, present, not absent father, but to walk alongside them, lead them. Sometimes they're too young to distinguish what is right, what is wrong. And that need us as parents to lead them. Sorry, this just have a father and a little kid. Mother's supposed to be there, but probably is cooking at home waiting for them. But because I just use, I think this is very, very nice, representing that relationship and with father holding the son's hand. And when they were young, we hold their hands. But when they are teenagers, they may not hold your hand anymore. And you have to learn to let go. But on the other hand, you need to stand next to them and lead them. And that's why it says, train a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not turn from it. And this is our responsibility. Because one day we need to let go, whether it's now, whether it's 10 years later, whether it's after they move out, or after we got taken back to heaven. We have to let go. And when we cannot hold on to them anymore, it is our hope that they will walk the right path. The very first thing, we have two questions regarding communication. So I will spend probably more time on communication than in other areas. And then because many of the problem, the issue that we need to deal with is dealing with communication. But before we go on to communication, let's communicate with God and ask God to bless our meeting here and also each and every one of our families. Father, thank you. Thank you for giving us the beautiful, the most wonderful gift of children. It's not that we deserve them, but it's because of your grace that you have given us this treasure. But Father, at times we may not know how to appreciate what you have given us. We're like a sculptor, and we still need to rely on you to sculpt them into the persons whom you want them to be. Be with us in this workshop. Inspire us so that we can really be a fitting father, a fitting mother to shape and to mold the precious gift that you've given us. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, communication, the first two questions. What to do when your teenager has no response during your talking or teaching? Teenagers often do not respond and become emotional. What should parents do? How many of you have that experience? Okay, they don't talk. Okay, or maybe they don't talk to you. They talk to their friends. They talk to a lot of people, but may not talk to you. Why? Is this familiar? Look familiar? What happened in school today? Nothing. But look at the lipstick mark, look at the bruised eyes, look at the report card, look at the first place, high school annual, and all these things. Many things are happening, but they say, nothing, or nothing I want to tell you. Okay. But why? Why teenagers are reluctant to talk? Sometimes we think, well, they're rebellious. They don't want to communicate. But as we probe further, it may be because it's hard to put emotion and feelings into words. Do you have that feeling? When you have a demand to your husband or your wife, you don't know how to put the feeling and your emotion into words, and sometimes you just throw a temper tantrum, or sometimes you just give silence treatment. Because you don't know how to express. And just imagine a 13-year-old a 12-year-old, a 16-year-old, how can they sort out their emotion and let you know how they feel? Feel anxious and stressed. There are a lot of anxiety and like the physical change and the relationship, emotions, academic pressure, and then like, I don't know whether you remember when you were young, but there are a lot of anxiety and stress. Embarrassed to discuss their struggle. Temptation, how can they tell you their temptation? How can they tell you the dirty jokes that they've heard in school? How would they express their failure? Not necessarily failing a class, but failing in decision, failing in making friends, and other stuff. And like puberty, how can they share what they've been going through in puberty? Embarrassed to discuss this. And then don't know how to ask for help. They know how to talk to their friends, and their friends have the experience. Maybe they grow up together, or maybe they experience the same thing. They have the same teacher, they flunk the same test, and there are a lot of common ground. But for you, you're already way up there, and then you don't have to study anymore, and you just work and you just maybe enjoy your life as an adult, but they are still struggling. Afraid to disappoint parents, their struggles, or their failures, their fears, or like, especially Chinese parents, we have high expectation. And then how can the teen tell you that, well, you know, I fail, or I make a mistake, or I somehow yield to temptation? How can they share with you? And predicting a negative reaction or response, because a lot of times when teens share, and then we will scold them, we will reprimand them. When they make a mistake, then we say why. We ask for reasons, we investigate, and then we condemn, we judge them. And like, kids are like a clam. And then when you put it in water for a while, it will slowly open up, and you can see that little thing. I call it a tongue. Usually what do you call it? I don't know, but you know, the tongue sticking out and then open up, and if you touch it again, it will just go back into the shell, and then close the shell tighter, and wait till next time. It will take a longer time to open. So why I'm bringing this up is because, you know, if we often give negative responses and negative reaction, they are just like this clam, or they're just like any animals that being threatened, they will not dare to come out. Too many questions and judgments, because we need to know why, we need to know how. I don't know for husbands, whether, like, say, if your wife got into a car accident, what will be the first thing you ask them? If they call, you know, like, honey, I have an accident. Whose fault? I don't know. Sometimes I would say, whose fault? And then what happened? Where? And like an investigator, investigate, you know, all these things. But if you can say, honey, are you hurt? Are you okay? Where are you? I'm coming right over. Then it's a totally different thing. Okay, say if your kid drive your car, if they got into an accident, do the same thing. Instead of investigate, scold them, but comfort them, assure them. They feel that you don't trust them, and so they won't share. So, no, of course, there are other reasons. But the key is how to get your teens to talk. I think that is the key. Be available and assure your availability. Sometimes you ask them, what happened today? Well, nothing. But make sure that you have time for them. Sometimes we're too busy, whether it's in our room typing on the computer, or whether we're looking at our cell phone, or whether we're watching TV, and then it seems like we're very busy. But maybe occasionally can just go into your son's room, your daughter's room, and say, "Hi, how's everything? How's your day?" Ask them and then see whether you can strike a conversation. Even if they say, "Oh, nothing," and they close the shell, say, "Well, if you want to talk, or if there's anything you want my help, let me know. I'll be in my room, or I'll be in the living room watching TV, but just come out if you need something." So make sure you ensure your availability and also make yourself available. Practice active listening. What is active listening? I think that is also true with spouse. When we communicate, active listening. Active listening doesn't mean that when your kid is talking, you're looking in your cell phone, or keep on watching the ball game. But active listening meaning that you need to pay attention to them, a full attention, withhold judgment instead of just judging them right away, and reflective responses like, yeah, oh, okay, yeah. And then sometimes reiterate and, oh, what you mean is, and also listen to feeling. It's not just what they are saying, but what is behind their words, what they try to imply. And maybe at times, like summarizing what they are saying. "Oh, are you saying this? I want to make sure that I understand you clearly." So active listening instead of just doing your stuff and not paying attention. Okay, open and non-judgmental communication. You need to have an open communication and non-judgmental. Sometimes we judge, sometimes we accuse, we reprimand, but just try to foster trust, understanding, and have empathy. Okay, catch them doing good. And this is something, I don't know whether it's difficult for everyone or difficult for Chinese. Because Chinese, we always catch them doing bad. Like, why don't you clean up your room? And why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? That's an overused joke and saying, "Oh, you got an A minus, why not A plus?" So on and so forth. But catch them doing good. So maybe 10 times. And if you find that just one time that he does well, I'm not saying academically, but like maybe he took his garbage out to the kitchen on garbage day, or maybe he somehow put his shoes away. Then whatever they did well, then just compliment them and say, "Wow, well done, yeah, okay, yeah, it really makes me feel that you are growing up and now you're being responsible." When you say something like that, catch them doing good, they will have incentive, motivation to continue to be good. But if they try and, like, say, clean up their mess in the room, if they try and then you ask them, whether you scold at them, you nag them or whatever, somehow you get them one Saturday morning, then your kids start cleaning up. And then in the evening, you go in and say, just clean up one corner. And then what will you say? "What is happening? You spent the whole Saturday morning and then you didn't clean up your room?" "Yeah, I cleaned up that corner." "Just a corner?" But if you try to catch them doing good, you go in and say, "I pretend not to see that mess, but well done, good job. Hey, you have cleaned up this corner. Yeah, try doing it again, and maybe next Saturday, and you did it really well. Okay, yeah, keep up your good work." Then it may give them incentive. Of course, over 1 week, that corner may be buried with other stuff. But the thing is, everybody need to be praised. Everybody need their effort to be recognized. and appreciate it. But this kid may spend an hour cleaning up and then 4 hours going onto the internet, but at least he has tried and put in effort for 1 hour. Say an appreciation to this person, to your kid, for that 1 hour of effort so that he could accumulate. So it's gradual, growth is gradual. Communicate on their level. If they want, if they communicate better on using texting or maybe email or maybe Instagram or whatever, then try to go to their level, understand what they are going through. They may not accept you as friend though. Say if they don't want to talk at a certain time, then don't talk to them at that certain time, especially when they just come into the house. Don't be a detective and ask them, oh, where did you go and how come you're so late? And you just keep on nagging. But give them some time and then communicate on the level and find a good time to communicate with them. Inquire about the disconnection. Say if somehow you find that, hey, we're not talking. And then maybe ask and say, hey, how come somehow I feel that we are not really talking or in talking term. Maybe he got upset at you, or maybe you scolded at him unreasonably. So just ask and try to clear the air and say, what is happening? How come you don't look so happy? How come you're not talking to me? So inquire about the disconnection and try to repair your relationship if needed. I don't know whether your kids ever given you silence treatment. No? Okay, wait till they grow up a little bit more. Okay, or when they get upset, maybe they give you silence treatment. Don't say, okay, you don't talk to me, I don't talk to you. So, what's the big deal? No. Try to repair the relationship. And there are numerous times that I have to say sorry to my kids. And then saying sorry is not a big deal. But you need to be sincere and know what has happened. There are a couple of times, originally I was thinking of showing you a picture of things that my daughter, Joni, has made. But I predicted we don't have enough time, so I get rid of them. There are a couple of posters. There's a poster, and also there's a book rack that Joni has made for me, one on Father's Day and one on my birthday. And then the book rack is using, in those days, is very popular. They use duct tape and to tape and then to make it. And she made one of the, a box, a bookshelf, and for me to put in the bathroom. So enjoy your reading. You can put the books there. And then she has written couple of and then also she has drawn a really beautiful picture of me holding on to Joni and then her sister Nadia and walking into the wood along a path. And then she wrote very sophisticated word there's no hero like the first one, or something like that. Sorry, I did not put the picture there. That means there's no hero as compared to the first one, that is Dad. And then another one is, sorry, I forgot. But then it's very nice. And then when I received them, I say, oh, it's so good. I feel so good. And then later, Ada told me, oh, yeah, actually, I said, oh, she wrote it really well. She said, oh, yeah, actually, I copied it somewhere else. Then I realized that it's not she was not the original creator of that phrase. And then on the, I think, one youth worship service, then I share, I received the gift. And then I received that gift. And then I found out that, oh, yeah, actually, my daughter did not write it. And then just copy it somewhere. And then actually, my intention was trying to self-humiliate myself and say, well, actually, I thought I was that good, but actually I'm not that good, so on and so forth. But then when my daughter heard it, she was deeply hurt. She thought that her work, her gift, was not being appreciated. And then those few days, I found that, she acted differently. And then it's good that I have a needle, I have a spy. And then Ada told me, actually, Joni was really hurt when you said that. Then I totally didn't realize that. I thought I was laughing at myself, not laughing at her. But then I think her feeling is right. If I were she, then probably I would have felt the same thing. So I went into her room and said, I'm sorry, Daddy said that. Because actually I want to laugh at myself and I want to make a point, but I didn't realize that actually what I said was inappropriate and I've hurt you. And then so we have a very deep conversation, and then of course I gave her a hug. Well, she was sleeping. Actually, I was tucking her in. Sometimes we need to learn to be humble and being or modeling humility. We'll talk about it later. But if somehow you find that your relationship with your kids, there's something in between you, then you have to clear the air, you have to repair your relationship. And when the relationship has been repaired, then it's easier for you to talk to one another. Okay, so far, is there any question why kids don't talk, and then how to get your teens to talk? Any comment, any question? Okay, good. This is a conversation starter. I don't mean to read everything, but if you want to, you can just take out your cell phone and take a picture of it. Like you can say, hey, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you travel? Who's your best friend, or what is your favorite memory of us? What quality are you looking for maybe in a boyfriend or a date? What is your dream job, and what is the most embarrassing moment? What is your earliest memory? What is the first thing on your bucket list? But anyway, this is just an example of conversation starter that I got it in the internet. So sometimes we say, hey, we got nothing to talk. I ask, how's school? Say, nothing. So these are some of the conversation starter that we can talk over dinner. Like, I don't know how many of you, when you have dinner, then maybe your kids will bring his dinner into the room, or maybe the husband is not back from work. But try to make dinner time a time to talk to one another, because you are not just investigating and talking to him alone and say, hey, how's school? How did you do? But everybody's talking, everybody chip in. It's easier to start the talk. Okay. Is there any question or concern regarding communication? Okay, dating. How many of you have concern or thought about, I don't know how to deal with it? The potential or the possibility of your kids dating. How many of you have concern? Okay, good. Those who don't have concern, you better do. Because we think that they're too young. And then, dating, maybe having a boyfriend or a girlfriend, I think we need to take it seriously. My way of treating it, also I share with you, I'm sharing from a pastoral point of view. And also a paternal point of view. I'm not a professional counselor. I'm not considering it psychologically and all these things. But from experience, from how I deal with other people, there are, I think, a couple of questions. What advice do parents give when they approach dating? And then also, when is the best time to date? Okay, maybe I'll ask you and let you express your opinion. And the reason behind it, maybe you've been sitting too long. Okay, who wants to answer the second question? When is the best time to date? Okay, and then you can pass on to whoever you want to. And that person needs to answer.
College.
College, okay. What year of college?
First year of college.
First year of college, okay. Pass on to someone. Okay. Okay, you can turn off the mic. Only one person answered college. Okay, how many of you will allow your kids to date in middle school? How many of you allow, it's not encouraged, okay? How many of you will allow your kids to date in high school? Okay. How many of you only allow your kid to date after high school? Okay, good. Pay attention to my use of words. Allow. Can you not allow? Okay. Help, my teen is dating. I think this probably some of the question here, I have gone through it in our dating workshop when you were in high school, okay? Why date? I have a parenthesis, say an interview question. Later I explain. Actually, you have to explain to your kid and also the person who may want to date your kid the following. Why date? What's the reason for dating? Some of them don't know. I don't know. Well, I like her. Is that the reason to date? Okay. To date? What's the purpose of dating? Why now? Why this person? What I did, actually I learned from many of the family counselor who has written books about letting their daughter date. They have interview. And in fact, I have interview with my daughter's date. And when they first date, then I said, well, I need to meet with your date. And maybe we can talk a little bit. There's nothing threatening or anything. So I think there are some questions that we need to ask. Why do you want to date my daughter? What's the reason? Well, I like her. Well, what do you like her? What do you like about her? Then I will ask them so that at least they have a little time and say, oh yeah, like personality or whatever. Oh, she's very organized, very artistic, musical, or whatever. Then at least it's not just, because of my hormone. That's why I want to date. And also, I will explain especially to my kids, the purpose of dating is not just to have fun. The purpose of dating is actually God's way for us to discern His will. How do I know there's so many guys in the world? How do I know which one will be my husband or fits to be my husband? But through the process of dating, then I find out, this person doesn't fit me. We have crashed. Even though we're very different, but we can complement one another. So, through the process of dating, actually, it's preparing you to find out who or whom God put in your life. So it's not just for fun, it's not just everybody's doing it, so I'm doing it. But why now? So they need to think, why now? Why not 2 years later? Oh, because I'm afraid that somebody will grab her already. Or whatever they want to say, or whatever your kids want to say, yeah, then at least you understand their thoughts. Why this person? What do you appreciate about this person? Yeah. When could one date, or when should one date? Then actually I agree with a majority of you. It will be better if they can start dating in college. Because I've heard it from one of the workshop when I was a teenager. They say, oh yeah, second year in college is the best time. But God may not provide someone in the second year of college. So, but I think when you mature a little bit more, when you learn to be independent, and in fact, I've read different articles like James Dobson. He thinks 17, like where there's family life, focus on the family, around that age. But I think actually, if you date in 17, it's not a good time because you're going to college. One will be going to Boston, and the other one will be going to San Diego, and then you have to maintain this long-distance relationship, which you have just started for about a year. So, going to college then with less changes, it would be more stable instead of long D. And with your experience and whom you have encountered, usually long-distance relationship doesn't work. Or may not work. There are a few exceptions. So, but later we'll say, hey, too late, because my daughter is dating already. Okay, we'll figure that out later. Whom? Is being a Christian a must? How many of you say being a Christian is a must? Okay. How many of you say, I'm not sure, but I may allow my kid to date a non-Christian, so to bring him to become a Christian? This is called dating evangelism, okay? I will say, go back to question 1. Why date? The purpose is not to have fun. The purpose is to discern whether it's God's will to put that person in my life. Now, what I'm saying to you actually is too late because you're married. But what I'm saying to you, I want you to let your kids know about the purpose of dating. It's not because everybody is doing it, not because of there's a winter prom or like a boat dance or whatever. No, the purpose is to see whether that person is whom God put in your life as a mate. So, if that's the case, to minimize heartbreak, it is best to date a Christian so that you have the same purpose, you have the same goal, and then you can encourage one another to grow. I always give that analogy. It's saying, well, it actually is to counsel like those who are in dating. I always give this analogy is that, like, say, the guy, he's an adventurer. He would like to go and then be Indiana Jones, going to Africa, those jungle, and then trying to find treasure and then explore. And then the girl is like, a princess, like to go shopping, Nordstrom, and then going to different store to shop. And then if they date one another, and then if they get married, they will have a hard time adjusting to one another. Because will the Nordstrom girl go to Africa to explore and, like going into the jungle? Or will this jungle guy go to shop with his wife and then just waiting outside the bathroom and playing with his cell phone and waiting for the wife to finish shopping? So, And now we're saying Christianity, our faith, is the most important thing in our life. And then how can we just put away the most important thing in our life and to consider marrying someone who thinks otherwise? So I would say it would be best if they date a Christian. What to do and what not to do. Actually, if the purpose of dating is to get to know the other person, so when you design a date, it's best that you can get to know each other, making memories, but also with honor and respect, and keep the boundary. And that's what the kids need to do. And then the not to do too close too soon. And there was a slogan and actually a movement called True Love Waits. True love waits. Is that you love that person, you wait until you get married to have physical intimacy. That we need to make it clear to our kids when they start dating. Set boundary. And where? I say, what do you mean by where? They can go anywhere. But what I mean is try to avoid alone time. If my parents is on vacation and then let's go to my house and watch TV. No, okay? It is not appropriate with just you and him alone. And try to find, go to the public place instead of just finding a very obscure place and just you and I. But if you've been to maybe Ocean Beach or different places, you'll find that many cars parked there. The car inside is all fogged up. And then suddenly you see a head and then another head or something. Then, you don't want your kids, even though when they're in college, you don't want them to put themselves in temptation. So make it clear to them. And then how? The best way actually is start from friendship. And then as a group, we go out, group dating, and then double date, and then single date. So far, any question? I think most of you have gone through this. Any question regarding your teens want to date? And then I put a last point is, what if? Yes.
I'm just thinking how to ask this question. So you mentioned junior prom. So I didn't grow up in this country. I wasn't used to these events. But I always felt that the education system here, right, just kind of promoting the junior prom, the graduation dinner, create a culture for early dating. So I came to Canada, actually, in my senior year of high school. I was really stressful with the graduation dinner, and I ended up starting dating because of that process. So what's your point of view about kids these events?
Well, I would say I explain to them, if actually it's good to start early. Don't wait till they come to you and say, Dad, I want to date. Or, some guy approached me. But even before they start dating, then you're trying to educate them about these things, about boundary. I think, I don't know whether the kids are still doing this, but there's a no-no square. Are they still teaching the no-no square? You make a square and make sure that people don't touch you inside the no-no square. So sex education likewise, start early, even before they bump into something that they probably they won't come back to ask you. But a lot of times, kids, the first exposure to sex is not through parents. It's not through church. It's not through even school, but through friends. Now it's even worse, through the internet. So, as for the proms or the dance, in my old days, I really encourage teenagers not to go. And there was a funny story. Just remember, there was a teenager in the fellowship. He's an officer or the cabinet member. And then he said, well, I cannot come to fellowship because I have a boat stance. I said, don't go. You have to think about it for yourself. And then because you have responsibility. And then also dancing, getting too close is temptation and everything. In the old days, there's like maybe 20 some years ago. And then he went. And then next week he came back and say, Walter, I should have listened to you. I say, what happened? I went to the boat dance, and then I took a wrong step. I fell into the water. And then my heart was saying, isn't it God is telling you something? But now actually the whole culture, like if you don't go, well, of course, is it a FOMO thing that I miss out something? But you need to educate your kids not out of the world, but how they can be in the world, but not of the world. So if they want to, like some of the girls, they would just, we girls, go together instead of just finding a partner. But nowadays, I think most of them in high school or maybe even in middle school, they go with a partner. Then I'll educate them and say, well, this is not a date. This is just an activities that you go out with another person. And doesn't mean that you need to develop further relationship with this person. Just one-time deal. But of course, when the guy asks the girl out, it's actually they may have been observing this girl and trying to, now they have prom proposal and make it really big. And then I was surprised. It's like a real proposal, but let your daughters know that, well, actually this is one event. If you choose to join, it's okay. I give you the permission. But if you choose not to join, it's okay too. But if you choose to join, I want to let you know that your partner is not your date, or it's not the person whom you will consider dating in a consistent basis. But it's just an activity that you both join together and you two partner one another. Just like if you are doing that, what do you call that game in English? Like you tie your legs together and then you walk? Yeah, a three-legged race. Like today I have a three-leg race with you, and then are you my partner? Are you my date? No. This is an event. This is a sport event that you partner together, and then you are so close, then you're walking together in the same footsteps. But you are not dating. Then they can understand. So this is an event. It's not. Don't think that you're dating this guy or you are obligated to date this person because you went to a prom. Does it make sense? Is it okay? Yeah. I say, any other questions? Yeah.
You almost make it sound like we have a choice, because the way it seems like it's happening is kids don't even tell their parents they're dating someone until 3 months, 6 months later. So for example, Abby had her puberty talk in 5th grade, and then we go down, when it got to the point of the physical intimacy, I felt it was a bit too much at that age and for her. But then I find myself wondering, should I have touched upon it? Because I'm not going to know. I think it's more, I feel like I'm just going to let them date because I don't feel empowered that I can actually say, you can't date. Like, how do you say you can't date?
Right, exactly. So that's why I put a what if there. This is a preparation. You try to educate your kids about the right concept of dating. But what if they cannot control their emotion? What if somehow they really develop that that admiration toward one another, or maybe just having a crush. So we cannot control. But first, I need to educate them and say, well, if one day your kid come to you and say, well, actually, I like this guy and I want to date, then I will try to explain what I have just explained to you. I will try to explain, well, now, maybe too early. You're going through a lot of transition, a lot of changes, physically and emotionally. May not be the best time, and actually, I don't agree that you date. But then, depending on the response, I have to add the part that, okay, if you insist of dating, even though I don't like it, on the one hand, it bothers me, it hurts me, but I will still love you and still accept you. I'm not saying that I approve what you're doing, or what you're doing is wise, but you're my daughter, I love you, and through thick or thin, I will be with you. So I will allow her to date with the understanding of all these concepts. And maybe one day, she'll come back and say, yeah, Dad, you're right. Yeah, I shouldn't have dated that early. Or maybe, by God's grace, this guy will be your son-in-law. So even though it may not be likely, but we see high school sweethearts that got married. Yeah. So we are not God. We cannot say absolutely. And even if you say, as long as you live under my roof, you cannot do it, then they will run away, or they may run away, or they may do it in a sneaky way that you wouldn't know. I'm going to the library. Yeah. So. Okay, I see a question at the back. Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hi. My question is that I think you said talk to them early, like before they start dating, but then one would be a appropriate time, I guess. And sometimes kids are like, you don't want me to do this, but I just want to do something that you don't want me to do. And also before they date, like, how do you even bring it up?
Actually, there should be many occasions that you can bring up, such as even right now in elementary school, this guy will like that girl and this girl will like that guy, and even in first grade, Nadia's class or Joni's class, fourth grade, they will like each other. So occasion like this, then you can say, oh, well, do you think it is too early? Then they will say their idea, their opinion. But since we have children, like teenage children, then teenage is a good time to prepare them. Even if you don't prepare them, things are happening out there. And then weird things, even the physical things they have heard, they have seen. They've seen people kissing, and like they've seen it on TV, on the internet, and then even in person. So you need to prepare them early. And another topic is like when we talk about boundary, is it appropriate to kiss? Do we have to kiss when we're dating? No, these are some of the things, especially I think mom will talk to the girls, and then a father talk to your boys, and let them know of respect. Let them know. And another thing is very important. You are not the authority. God is the authority. So God is watching. That is a very important concept. Whatever we do, we try to please God. That is another important concept. And then it's not that Daddy don't allow you, but I want to let you know that the purpose of dating is leading to marriage, and marriage is leading into like a lifelong commitment. And so, like Christian and all these comes in at the same time. And what if now I always say daughter because I have 2 daughters. What if your daughter say, well, a guy approached me and then want to date me, but he's not a Christian? Then of course I will explain, well, the Bible says, and let them know. And if she insists, then I have no way. I can, going through the same thing is, well, this is not something that I like, but if you so decide, I still embrace you, and I will still, maybe I'll share gospel with this guy or something. But no matter what, I need to interview this guy. So when I interview this guy, then I explain to them, Joni, her lifelong commitment is to Jesus. And then I want you to also, if this is the most important thing in her life, I also want you to know her and know what is most important to her. And that is Jesus. So bring this person to church or maybe some activity, share the gospel with him. Okay, Anna?
Could you give us, what the conversation looked like when you proposed to your daughter to interview the... I don't know how...
I think I said it even before they started dating. Also, I said it, the best time is college, second year college. That's what I've heard many years ago, but I think there's wisdom in there. So I let them know, and even though when they're young, they know it already. They may not follow, but at least they know what is my preference. And then, when Joni dated Kai, Kai actually they grew up in elementary school, but they didn't know one another. And then they also took a picture in middle school, sitting on the grass next to one another, but they didn't realize it until much, much later. But I said the same thing, can I have an interview of this guy? And then Joni said, what are you going to ask him? So, nothing unusual, say, why he want to date you and all those stuff then. So, So, that whenever they say, so-and-so like this girl or whatever, then, ask them, do you think it's too early? Then they will tell you, of course it's too early. They are only in 4th grade or whatever, or in 7th grade. And then daddy, mommy think that the best time will be when you're in college. Because when you're in high school, then you may go to different college, then you are thousands of miles away. So explain the rationale behind it. And then also at that time tag along and say, if one day you're going to date, I would like to meet the guy before you start to date, so that I get to know him. So, okay, any other questions? Yeah. Just me and the guy. Because I think it would be very embarrassing if both parents there. And then if you're interviewing the girl, don't be too harsh, but at least, I'd like to meet her. Then also, I think it's most appropriate for the wife to meet the girlfriend and the husband to meet the boyfriend. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Okay, peer pressure. How do the parents comfort the teens when they are feeling peer pressured or when they have FOMO, fear of missing out. Well, this FOMO thing, it is actually bigger than what I thought it was. Because before I look into your question, I always think, yeah, fear of missing out, yeah. But actually this fear of missing out is highly or closely connected to the internet, connected to some of the apps, and also it's dangerous. And I didn't realize, it's so dangerous. How to help teens to deal with peer pressure. Disciple your kids to live by God's words. I think this is the primary thing we need to do as parents. Don't rely on just the church, even though Cumberland is a very good church. The pastors are very good pastors. And the children minister and youth minister are excellent because they are being mentored by excellent pastors. Okay? But the primary place to disciple, to mentor your kids is home. If you don't have time to pray with your kids, start it soon. If you don't have time to share faith with your kids, or share even your weakness, or model what it means to be humble, or model service, then we need to do it soon. Because quite often we're so busy, but we send the kids to fellowship, Sunday school, worship, and thinking that, they are being taken care of. And that's why many people change churches. Because, this church doesn't have a good youth program. If in that case, maybe your kids need to change home. Will your home be a good place to nurture them? So, put this in your mind, ingrain them in your mind and say, yes, I need to disciple my kids. But how? That's the question. Because I've never discipled anyone. I always like that illustration. I feel that God has given us a big marble. It's our kid. And then given us hammer and chisel to sculpture this big piece of marble. In the beginning, it's just like a big mess, like a baby born. And then you need to train them, teach them. We spend a lot of time taking care of the daily necessity. We even spend time driving them to sports activities, swimming, violin, piano, sports events, and everything. If we dedicate as much time to groom them as Christian, probably every one of them will be pastor. Or may not be pastor, but will live out God's purpose in their life. So I think that is very important. We need to sit down with your spouse and plan out in what way that we can somehow nurture our kids, disciple them, and not to make them think that we are lecturing them. I think the best way is to be a good role model. In your fight, in your reprimand, in your pride and humility. So in every aspect of our life, let them see that you are a real person. You are a person who may lose it sometime. You are a person who make mistakes but are willing to take responsibility and apologize. You are a person who is willing to forgive. And many times I have to remind myself, love your enemy when dealing with my kids. I'm not kidding. It's real thing. Even dealing with your family members, sometimes you need to remind yourself, you need to love, you need to forgive, you need to embrace, even though they are not living up to your expectation. Just like we did not live up to God's expectation, but He's merciful and gracious. Okay, so disciple your kids to live by God's words. It doesn't have to be every night having a worship service. I used to think that way. I plan out this way. Monday we'll do this, Tuesday we'll do that. It doesn't work. And especially, actually, after they are in middle school and especially high school, they will work to like very late evening for the homework and study. So probably you will go to bed earlier than they do. So make use of the time that they go to bed earlier than you do, and make a routine of tucking them in, praying for them, talking to them. Even now, Nadia is living with me. She's going to be 25. And then she always wants me to tuck her in because she wants me to massage her. Sometimes I'm very tired. I still have sermon to prepare when she goes to bed. Can you ask mommy? You don't want to tuck me in? Okay. But during that period of time when I was tucking her in, when I was helping her to massage her shoulder or her back, oh, I'm sore here, that's the best time to talk to her. It's like a tamed lamb under my hand, and then I can talk and we can share. Establish such routine. Oh, everybody is different. Every family is different. Every kid is different. But maybe you won't establish this massaging routine, but at least you can just say, anything I can pray for you, and then pray with your kid. And then maybe once every 2 weeks or so, maybe go out to have breakfast in McDonald's, just one by one, one-on-one, and then just talk. Not to investigate what happened in school. Did you fail the class? Is there any guys chasing after you? No, just talk and talk about her feeling, his feeling towards school, struggles, any problems. Open and non-judgmental communication. This has been repeating. That's why I say communication is the basic. Everything related to communication, depending on whether they share what happened to them, to you. So you need to establish that channel. And non-judgmental, at least not in the beginning. Now, after you understand, then you may try to analyze and then try to help your kid understand the situation and may give here and there some advice. Affirm your kids of his and her value. This is very important because a lot of times, why we're afraid of missing out, why we feel pressure, because we want people to like us. We want to be valuable. But affirm, let them know of their value. They are fearfully and wonderfully made. God knows them. God loves them. Jesus died for them, and they have big value. And one important concept is to let them know that your value does not depend on your friend. I used to share this illustration when Ada and I first got married. And she talked to me and said, when the house is on fire, remember to take this bag and save it. Okay? Then I say, what is in this bag? Jewelry or money or what? She said, the love letter that you sent to me. To anyone, that bag of old pieces of paper worth nothing. A thief come in and will not care about that bag of letters. Will take your TV, will take your computer, will take your jewelry, will take the cash that you put in the drawer, but will not even take a look of that bag. But to Ada, that was the most precious thing and the very first thing she wants to take out when the house is on fire. Of course, now I don't know where that bag is because we have kids. When the house is on fire, you take the kids, not the bag, okay? Likewise, let your kids know that their value is not defined by their classmate. It's not defined by whether they're missing things out, but it's defined by her maker, her master, that value them so much that willing to die for them. So It doesn't matter, these passerby. In fact, when I go to middle school, when I go to high school, those people are passerby. I may or I may not see them in high school. Maybe we may be at different classes or different high school. And when we go to college, I won't see them probably, unless you develop a very close relationship. So don't put your value upon how other people evaluate you. So you need to affirm your kids of her value. And then give your kids permission to make you the bad guy. This is by Dr. John Tran. I just put his idea here. What does it mean by give your kids permission to make you the bad guy? Say, if there's anything that they don't want to get involved. Say, there was one real situation, is that John's daughter went to see a movie with a group of friends, girls. And then in the middle of the movie, they left and then went to a party. And then she felt really, really uncomfortable. Then she called Dad and then tell Dad to pick her up and bring her home. So give your kids permission to make you the bad guy, meaning that, well, my dad doesn't like it. Oh, I have chores, or I have responsibility that I need to do at home, or my dad expects me to go home before a certain time. You may be laughed at, but this is one way that Dr. John Tran tried to give these pointers to his daughters. Follow with these. Be the Uber driver 24/7, no question asked. Like say if your daughter call, your son call, be the Uber driver and go and pick her up. And no question asked. Don't say, what is happening? Huh? Oh, why are you leaving? Huh? Is it bad? No question. Until maybe a later time, you just go pick her up. Give them a code word if they need help. And this is exactly what happened for the movie thing. Because like friends are around and you cannot say, no, they're going to a party. No, then pick up the phone, then the dad will ask, what is happening? Then the code word to say, okay, if you're happy, say blue. If you're not happy, say red. Red. Then, okay, I come to pick you up. So you just talking to your dad and say red is better than, I want to go home. So, the friends will look at her. So maybe you say, give a code word, or you have something that both of you recognize. And then role play, saying no. Say, give a situation. Oh, what happened if that, then what will you say? Then, so role play so that your kids get used to saying no. Maybe next time when you say, do the chore, wash the dishes, no. Coach them on how to live through response. And this is also important because some decision they made may have negative responses. Maybe the friends say that, oh, you're such a sissy. Oh, you're like your parents. Oh, you're so old-fashioned. Or maybe prepare them that, some of their decision that they made may lose some friends. But coach them along if situation like that arise. And walk with them. Also follow up on unwise decision. Like your kids, probably they are not saints. And they may make mistakes. They may yield to peer pressure. And when you realize it, then follow up on the situation and let them know of your concern and have them tell you what happened. Okay, regarding peer pressure, any questions? We've been sitting for 1.5 hours almost. Maybe we just take a 5-minute break. If you want to just talk to one another, you want to go to the restroom or whatever, we gather back at 9 o'clock. Would that be okay? Yeah. I'm hoping that we can finish every question. But I have something to add. As we're talking I want to make clear that the interview is not to put my foot down and trying to, I don't know how to say it in English, hunger. It's like, yeah, establish dominance and say, hey, you want to date my daughter? Like what Joy said, there's a t-shirt said, I will do to you what you did to my daughter, or what you do to my daughter, or something. But no, as a friend, establish the friendship instead of establish the dominance. So, oh yeah, what do you like? Oh, why do you like my daughter? And then, oh yeah, but do you know that? Of course, like Kai is a Christian, so we don't have that issue. But if the other person is not a Christian, oh, I also want you to know that. Do you know that aspect of my son, my daughter? Oh yeah, he goes to church. Oh, you don't? Oh, and then so we just establish a friendship, but not to make him afraid of you. Okay, helping teens to deal with FOMO. Actually, the first 3 points is the same as helping teens to deal with what we talk about, peer pressure. Yeah. So disciple your kids to live by God's word, and then open and non-open and non-judgmental communication, and inform your kids of his or her value. Ask why your kids is experiencing FOMO. What is happening? What had happened? So let him share what happened. Set priorities. You cannot do everything all the time. Then you have to miss out something, but you need to set priority. Suggest a digital detox for your kids. I was surprised. None of you asked about, my kids is so engaged in the internet. They spend too much time on the computer. None of you have this problem? Oh, the others are really good parents. Or you may not know what they're doing because you're in the computer. You're on the computer. Okay, yeah. So, because FOMO, nowadays, the fear of missing out, is that a lot of things are from the internet. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, they got a lot of likes. Oh, I have to do this. And then they are having a party here. So they always keep track on the internet, their cell phone, so that they won't miss out anything. So maybe suggest and be a role model of a digital detox for your kids once in a while. Maybe one day say, maybe this afternoon we don't do anything. We don't look at our cell phone. Let's go hiking and do something exciting. Or fishing. Promote contentment and encourage gratitude. I think contentment is the word, that they are not content. They want everything. They think that the grass on your neighbor's house is greener. That's why they always want to keep their eyes open and they're afraid of missing out. And lead by example. So maybe a lot of times when we do workshop, when we talk about kids are on the computer all the time, on their cell phone all the time, and then I ask, are you on the cell phone or the computer all the time? And most parents say yes. Or not all the time, but most of the time. So lead by example and maybe provide a support system. Also provide some other activities that they will be engaged in, or they like, or they feel proud of. Maybe learning a musical instrument, joining a sport activities or something that they don't even have time because they're in the basketball team, in the softball team. Provide an alternative. So when you do the detox. Okay, I was surprised. But anyway, any question on this one? It's kind of related to another topic, but we will talk about it later. Faith issues. This one happened to some churches and even to our church that kids, they don't want to go to church or fellowship or like our own church or fellowship. This one is not communicating. Okay, let's see. Oops. Sorry. The next one is how to prepare youth to serve God, such as in fellowship, at church, or even their career, their life. Let's go on to the helping teens when they don't want to go to church. How many of your kids experience that problem? Oh, I don't want to go to church. I don't want to go to youth worship. I don't want to go to fellowship. Any one of you experience that? Yeah. So what can we do depending on how old they are? They say, I don't want to go to your church. I want to go to my friend's church. I think if they are in high school or if they're in middle school, the answer may be different because they're into that maturity of discerning and seeking and comparing. But, if they're in middle school, maybe we can put our foot down and say, well, I think it is best for our family to go to church together. But if they're older, forcing them to go to church or go to your church may have a negative effect. Okay, you force me to go to church, otherwise you take away my cell phone or whatever, I'll go, but they hate church. They won't listen. So maybe once they go into college, and then they will leave church. In fact, survey says majority of the Christian teenagers who went to church in high school, they quit church when they go to college. So be very careful. Not physically they go to church, but they can connect to the God that you trust, the God that you connected to. Ask what they don't like about church or fellowship. Oh, why don't you like church? Oh, it's boring. Whether it's preference or there may be actually I'm being bullied. Or there are cliques everywhere and I feel so lonely when I go to church. Yeah, I'd rather play basketball with my neighbor. So ask what they don't like about church or fellowship to understand a little bit more. Ask how the leaders could make it better. Oh, okay. If the leaders can make it better, in what way you think that they can make it better? Or how they will get excited about going to church. What changes you want to see in church so that you say, okay, I'll go. So let them voice it out. Discuss with the youth leader or pastor of their concerns. Or maybe they say, oh yeah, the pastor's message is too boring. Of course, you cannot say, hey, Pastor Tim or Pastor Walter, your sermon is too boring. But so if there are some concern, like say your kids being bullied, or maybe the Bible study is too long, or there's not enough relevancy, then let your church leader know. Discern if it is a faith issue or preference issue, especially for older kids. Maybe they say, I don't even believe in God anymore, so why go? And that is different from, well, I think I like the music, but when it goes to the sermon, I doze off. Or, well, that kid's always bothering me. I don't want to sit next to him. Something like that. So you need to know, is it a faith issue or preference issue? Spend time dealing with the issue, working with him, and encourage them to pray and seek God's will. It's not just you. I'm not the authority to force you to go. You go to church. Let them have a right concept of church going. When you get engaged into this topic, I think it's an opportunity to educate your kids about worship, about going to church, and about not going into the building, not going through all the rituals, but you're going to worship a God who loves you. So it's like going to see grandpa on Sunday. That you're excited about going. It's not an obligation, but you're going to see your loved one. And then may need to give the option of visiting other churches. If your kid is in high school, and if he think that, he didn't get enough support, or he think he can get better nourishment, maybe you can consider two options. One is let them go to another church, because in a couple of years, in a year or so, they will go to college, they will go to another church. So it's better for them to go to another church and keep their faith than you're forcing him to come to church or come to your church so that in one day, when they go to college, then they quit church altogether. Different scholars have different preference, but I think we cannot control them. When they grow to, like, say, high schoolers, high school junior, high school senior, it's better that they can learn. Oh, maybe they don't even go to church. Then I cannot force and say, you have to go to church as long as you're living under my roof. No. If they don't go to church, pray for them, see what is the problem, pray with them, and pray that God will turn them around one day. Okay, any question, comments? Okay, if not, how to prepare youth to serve God, such as in the fellowship, at church, or even in the career? I think role model. If you don't even serve in the church, how can you encourage your kids to serve in the church? If you serve in the church, let them come along and see what you're doing. If you are controlling the sound booth, and then, when you're setting up, and let your kids look at what you're doing. Just like I think Chinin and Christine, they set a really good example. They brought their kids, even though they're young, and then sit behind the sound booth and see what daddy and mommy is doing. Expose them to ministry. And then also you need to know what your kid is good at. Like, say, what is their shape? Remember when we talk about purpose-driven life, what are their spiritual gifts? What is their heart? What do they like? What do they enjoy? And then what are their ability? Are they more technical oriented? Are they musical? If they learn to play piano, maybe they can play for the youth worship. And then personality, what are their personalities? And then also experiences. Do they have experience with music, with sound equipment, with just meeting friends, or be the usher? So, and like, say, for my two kids, I brought them to Guangxi, China, to help out in the English camp. Both of them went at least 2 times, 2 years. And they saw me working there. They saw me crying there. They saw me how to lead the kids, games, and so they know, this is a real person. My dad cried, my dad laughed, my dad at times disciplined kids, and so and they know, this is the ministry. And in Guangxi, toward the end, we sang a song. All the helpers sang a song, and everyone say something, and then everybody cried. My daughters, they cry, and then so you get them emotionally involved. You get them love the kids. You get them love God's ministry when you do something together with them. So if there are missions opportunity that you can bring your kids, consider that. Not every year, but at least just at least one time to let them experience. Okay, sexual issue. There are 2. What to do when you find out your teenager is watching pornography or go onto a porn site. And then how to help Christian teens identify gender identity. This is a biggie. It's bigger than I expected. And in fact, Pastor Allen will conduct maybe a series of workshops on this issue in the near future, maybe early next year, because he also facilitate a group. They are parents of LGBTQ kids. So I will cover a little bit, but then he will explore it in maybe a couple of workshops. Okay, first, what to do when you find out your teenager is watching pornography, porn site. I think you are facing the biggest challenge so far to raise up your kids. In the old days, when we need to buy a porn magazine, we have to go to the newsstand and then look and then pretend to buy newspaper. And then along with that, oh, can you give me that? Okay, and then just put it inside the newspaper. And then look, and then you see your pastor standing next to you, buying newspaper too. Not sure what is in his newspaper. But in the old days, you have to go through all those hurdles to get into that pornography thing. But nowadays, you can do it without anyone knowing. And even husband or even wives. So I encourage, if possible, husband and wife go to bed at the same time. Not to leave the other person alone facing a computer. That could be temptation. Even Christian brothers and sisters may engage in such activities or addiction. It's too accessible. So it's too accessible for your kids. So what to do? Again, same thing, open and non-judgmental communication. Don't shame him. Don't lecture. Don't raise your voice, but listen for reason. Why? What happened? Can you tell me what happened? Then open communication. Don't just scream and yell, what are you looking at? When I look at it, your mom scolded at me and now I'm scolding at you. But no, listen for reason, listen for struggle, especially when your kid is a Christian. Then there may be, listen to his struggle. Yeah, I know this is not right, but Dad, I can't help it. Okay, I understand. Yeah. So you can provide solution, counseling, share your experience. Make this a teachable moment. Let them know, okay, since they're talking in the topic of sex, hopefully before they get into this porn site, you got a chance to talk to him about sex. But if not, let them know the purpose of sex. Sex is created by God, and it's beautiful within marriage. So emphasize within marriage. Sex is beautiful. Sex is not dirty. Sex doesn't have to be sneaky, so you don't have to be sneaky about it. But it's within marriage. This is God's creation. And then also setting personal boundary to guard their heart, their mind, and the body. Then you need to teach them, like the Bible says, guard your heart above all things. So what is your desire? Maybe we desire in our hearts, we need to be careful. We have to have a pure heart. The mind, what you think, because what you think becomes you becomes what you think. So be very careful of our thought life. I always give this example. If I want you to not think about lemon, we don't have time to practice it here. Usually I give people a minute or so and don't think about lemon. And in your mind, suddenly pop out lemon. And if you need to fight it, don't think about lemon, and you're thinking about lemon already. Don't think about sex, don't think about sex, you're thinking about sex already. So the Bible says, whatever is honorable, like those spiritual virtues, we need to think about these things. So instead of thinking about something inappropriate, we pursue godly character and virtues. So teach them to guard their thought life and then guard their body. the very first thing is to guard their mouth. Actually, sometimes they talk about dirty jokes, and they talk about trash. Then guard their mouth, guard their eyes. Teach them a trick. I call it bounce your eyes. When you first look at something inappropriate, maybe by mistake, you bump into a site or you look at a commercial, but after the first look, you bounce your eyes to look at something else. And then that is controlling your eye. And then also guard your body, your no square. And if you date, how far would you go? Would you allow holding hands? Would you allow your boyfriend put his hand on your shoulder, on your waist, inside the clothes, outside the clothes? And then, so try to talk with your kids about these things. Set boundary with consequences. This is not the personal boundary that they set, but you set a boundary. Okay, next time if you are doing it again, there will be consequence. Now, this time, maybe I confiscated your cell phone for 1 week, but next time it will be. So, set boundary and consequences. But it's not just yes and no, but you can use browser filters, parental control functions, or software that you can search on the internet and see what kind of options you can choose. But also, this is something, especially when you found your kids are engaged in this watching pornography. And also, you can use that to help yourself, to safeguard yourself. Set up ongoing accountability and pray with your kids. Because they started this, then say, okay, yeah, Daddy wants to support you. I know it's hard. I am a man. I also have those temptations, but I want to support you. I want to keep you accountable. I want to maybe pray with you once a week or once every 2 weeks or so. And check up with you. And also, there are very good software that we can use, resources. There's one called CovenantEyes.com. One is called XXXChurch.com. Those are accountability software. You can have accountability partner. But if it's your kid, then you will be the accountability partner. Then this will, if in case you go onto the website, those porn website, then the software will send a message to notify your accountability partner. So, there are different things then. So you are your kid's accountability partner, but only when you find your kids stumble into these websites. Don't say, okay, yeah, there are websites that go to porn site and then I will be your accountability partner. That will become a temptation. Yeah, I didn't know how to get on. So these are some of the resources that you can use. And then Homework.com is a lot of family things family resource that you can go on to Homework.com. This is a biggie, helping teens regarding gender. Oh, by the way, any other question regarding this pornography thingy? Just set up blockers. And software. And I know Android and Apple, they're using different functions. You can just go on to the internet and say, how can I block those websites? And it will tell you then. Just set up blockers that they cannot. Even on cell phone, you can, I think there are functions that you can set. Yeah, but I'm not too familiar with it. But I think you tech people will know more. Yeah. If you ask him, he may not tell the truth. So asking him will, on the one hand, increase his curiosity to, oh yeah, I haven't tried it. Yeah. Mom is asking me. Probably she approved. Yeah. But of course, his friend may be watching it. But I think your discretion, because you know your son better. Yeah. But if he is, he probably won't tell you. Oh, no? Are you telling the truth? Yeah. So they don't even need to blink their eyes. Okay. Helping teens regarding gender identity. Again, open and non-judgmental communication. Ask teens about what they heard or learned from school, friends, social media. Probably there are a lot of things happening in school that they can tell you. If there's nothing, that's fine. And then share God's original design of sex, men and women. Affirming our kids' sexuality. I'm proud of you, son. Oh, you're such a beautiful daughter. Affirming that, oh, you're my son, you're my daughter. Modeling God's created orders. Because nowadays, maybe we don't have a proper way of dealing with the opposite sex. And your home is a good model of how a man should treat his wife. With gentleness, with respect, with love. And husband treating the wife as well as wife treating the husband with honor, with respect, and then uplifting him as the head of the household and all these things. So model God's creative order. Oops. And help kids understand the confusion during puberty and the influence of our culture. Let them know that when you're in puberty, when you're growing up, being a teenager and the transition, there are a lot of things you're confused. When you're young, when you're small, then you say, oh, boys have cooties, and then now you may not feel that way. Or some girls may feel that, oh, I'm a tomboy, am I a girl in a, no, am I a boy in a girl's body? You may get confused, especially with recent culture, with all this transgender talk. Then the kids may be confused. Am I have interests, same-sex interests? I don't know, same-sex attraction? Like in the old days, in Hong Kong, girls are holding hands until, I don't know, late teens. And even young adults, they hold hands without any concern, any questions. But today, if you hold hands, and then the people may look at you differently. Or people may consider, oh, maybe you're a difference, like you're in the wrong body or something. I pointed out, I don't know how many of you have heard of Chloe Cole. What happened is Chloe Cole actually, when she was 12, she was diagnosed to have gender dysphoria, meaning that gender confusion. Am I a boy? Am I a girl? Or something. And maybe I'm in the wrong body. And was treated in a hospital in the San Francisco Bay Area between the age of 13 to 17. And at that time, the doctor convinced the parent with this reason. And then the doctor said, would you rather have a dead daughter or a living transgender son? So of course, I don't want a dead daughter. So she went through getting, because she thought that she was a tomboy, and then she may not have interest with the same sex and things like that. So with all the LGBTQ education and everything, emphasis, then she started taking, injecting, or the doctor started injecting male hormone when she was 13. And then, and continues until 15. And then she also received a double mastectomy, that is surgery cutting off her breast, when she was 15. But yet, after a couple of years, when she was 17, and one day it just dawned on her, and then she said, well, I'm never going to be able to breastfeed my baby. And then she realized that actually she made a mistake. And at that time she was confused. But it's not that, because she was in the wrong body, but because she was confused, she was still young in that puberty and then growing up, and then because of all the education, all the different things that is going on in the society, then she was pushed that way. And right now there's a lawsuit, and then also she testified before the court of what happened and all these things. If you go on YouTube, you click on Chloe Cole, then you can hear her whole story. So, let kids understand that right now this is a fallen world that we're living in, and there are a lot of weird things going on. And also, when we're growing up, we're experiencing puberty, and that's why there are a lot of things, emotion, hormones, and we are not sure. And so, but that is okay. First, understand your identity. There are temptations out there in the world, but we need to call to be obedient to God. And that is important. But maybe after you explained, after everything, and your son or daughter still think that he was in the wrong body, what could you do? Look at it this way. If we need to be obedient to God, actually our identity is not on our feeling. I feel this way, that's why this is my identity. I feel that way, this is why this is my identity. Our identity is in Christ. And then when God created us as male and female, we know that this is God's intent. And not depending on how we feel. Likewise, understand that there are various temptations. Just like men, we have opposite sex attraction. So, what should we do? We still need to be obedient to God and control our desire. Likewise, even if, because of whatever reason, because of the society, because of early trauma, that a person have same-sex attraction, and if he or she is a Christian, still need to live under the will, the law of God, that we need to be obedient. If I have heterosexual attraction, then I need to be obedient to God, and then guard my body, guard my heart, guard my mind. Likewise, if I have same-sex attraction, I need to be obedient to the Bible and need to guard my heart, guard my mind, guard my body. So, it doesn't mean that, my feelings say that, I am a male, I am a female. Help kids understand their identity in Christ does not depend on feeling. Just like this train that we've seen before, a lot of times we relied on feeling. I feel this way. I feel that I'm close to God. I feel other way. And then the feeling is leading us to the faith, leading our faith. God doesn't love me anymore, so my faith is weak. And then the last is the fact. That is the word of God. But let feeling control. So don't let feeling tell you your identity, but let the fact tell you the identity. Oops. Sorry. Let the fact, meaning the promise of God, the Bible, the Word of God, to lead us, and then lead our faith, and then lead our feeling. So mainly, a lot of people say, I don't feel like that I am living in the right body. So feeling change, just like Chloe Cole. But what if after all these you explain to your kid and then they still think that they're in the wrong body? What should we do? Just like dating. We let them know, yes, I love you. I think that this is wrong. I think our identity is in Christ. We need to be obedient and guard our body and guard our mind, guard our heart. But if you decide to feel that way and go this way, I love you. You're still my daughter. You're still my son. And I will be walking alongside you. And in any case you have any issue, come to me and I'll be there. So because you cannot control, you cannot say, don't do it. If they decide to live together with a same-sex person, or just like if your son decided to live together with the opposite sex before they get married, you can express your opinion, but you cannot do much except to pray and to continue that communication with your son, with your daughter, and hopefully one day you can bring them back. Okay, any question? Comments? These are some of the books. I just picked 3. There are other resources. I think Straight Talk with Your Kids About Sex, Josh and Dottie McDowell. It's a pretty good book. I just look at the content, the front page. The topic and everything, I think, is very good. We can use it to talk to our kids about sex. Teaching Your Children Healthy Sexuality by Jim Burns, and also focus on the family guide to talking with your kids about sex. This one may not fit you because it lists out different age, what do you do, what should you say, or something like that. But you already passed the majority of the 4-year-old, 5-year-old, and all those. So probably the first one, you can go onto the internet and look at the content and see what is included. And I think getting one of these resources will help. Okay, another thing, help. My kids is invincible. I didn't know that in FOMO related to the internet, related to a lot of different challenges. Have you heard of or seen these challenges? Okay, coronavirus challenge. Actually, I just listed a few. They will challenge you to go out to lick on different places, like the handrail in public places, or even like the toilet bowl to lick. They may not get coronavirus, but they'll get other germs. The Kylie Jenner lip challenge, they use, what do you call that, a shot glass, and then they put it here, and then they keep on sucking so that it becomes a vacuum, or they use any container, and then after a while, they take it off, and then your lips will be really big and swollen. And then sometimes be bleeding or something. This is a challenge. The backpack challenge, 2 rows of kids and then holding the backpack, and then you try to walk in between them and then everybody's hitting you without falling, then you will win. But that get you hurt. The deodorant challenge, they use those spray deodorant, and then because when you spray it, it's cold, like to freeze your skin, and then until you cannot bear it anymore and see who's longer. The salt and ice challenge is the same thing. They put salt so that to make the ice a lower freezing point and put it on your skin until you cannot hold it anymore. 48 hours challenge is like you disappear for 48 hours without telling anyone. The blackout challenge, you choke yourself, you suffocate yourself until you almost pass out, and then you come back, and they try to get high, and it was pretty popular many years ago, and now it's resurrection, and then people are doing it, and people die from it. Benadryl challenge, people swallow a lot of Benadryl and got sick, or some die. And penny challenge, they use a cell phone charger, take it off outlet a little bit, use a penny to try to short the circuit. So there are many challenges there. There are many things, and then guys think that, I am invincible, I can do it. And that's why they do these challenges. But many of these will cause you second-degree, third-degree burn, or or deform your lips forever, or like some people die from the blackout challenge. But we need to educate our kids. You are not invincible. There are risks there. And then also the parkour, that people are jumping from one, like a handrail to another building, wall to wall, building to building, and then trying to get to the other point the fastest possible. I don't know, probably you've seen videos on that. I say, crazy, wow, so dangerous. But this, people think it's a sport, it's an exercise. So how can we help our kids when they think that they're invincible? Again, open and non-judgmental communication. Ask why they engage in such activities. Why do you want to put a penny between the socket outlet? And then what feels good? Why do you engage in it? If you find out what they did. But probably most of us may not find out. And then get informed. You know what is happening. Talk about what is risky and the consequences. And engage them in extracurricular and or sports activities so that they are engaged, they don't feel bored, they don't want to try out with that FOMO feeling, try out different things. Set boundaries and consequences. And then pray, ask God for help. Okay, 45, you need to go, but now it's 41. Okay, wow, my teen knows it all. Again, listen and model humility, even though your kids want to argue and it's a know-it-all. Praise and encourage growth. They think that they know it all. They say, this is right. Oh, I didn't know. Wow, you know that you have a vast amount of knowledge. That's great. And encourage them to continue to grow. But teach them social grace. Now, you cannot dominate the conversation. You cannot always say you're right. You need to let other people express their opinion. Offer guidance and alternative perspective. Like maybe you can think it this way. Set boundary regarding attitude and respect. Yes, you can hold your viewpoint, but you need to present it with respect. So attitude is the key. It's not information is the key. Disengage if argument gets heated. Like if he start to argue, want to drag you into argument, just disengage and, I think, let's not talk about it. Let's talk about it some other time. And then create a signal or cue if they cross the line. If it's in public, if there's other people, then just give a cue, maybe pat on his shoulder. Okay, that is enough, okay? Yeah, so you won't embarrass him in front of others. And then seek professional counseling if needed. So I'm sorry we're going so fast, but since we only have a couple of points, so that's why I just want to go through with it without the example, life example. How much freedom to give to teens? Consider the age and maturity, so curfew and screen time and all these depending on how old they are. Give freedom in increments, gradual independence. So don't just, you can do this, but gradually test the water, consider safety, set boundaries and consequence, and evaluate and adjust. College issue, how to prepare our teens for college. There are a lot of things we can talk about, but mainly prepare them spiritually. Now, I don't care if they don't know how to wash their clothes, but I care if they don't go to a Christian community after they go to college. So instill in them, when they go to college, they need to find a fellowship, they need to find a church. How to prepare ourselves, have good relationship, marital relationships, so that When the kids goes away, you lose your purpose of life. I don't have to drive them to swimming. I don't have to drive them to sport activities. But when you two establish a good relationship with one another, no fear. Share how I prepare my son and daughter going to college financially. Not much preparation. Loan, part-time work, and all these are the key. And then eat less outside. But anyway, I want to end with this, a note from teen to parents. Listen, it says, I don't mean to always argue with you. I'm just trying to be me. The problem is I don't know who I am right now. I don't like me right now. I need you to love me even when I don't show you love in return. I need you to be emotionally stronger than me. I need to know it's you and me against the world, and that my actions won't change your love for me. I need you to understand what I'm going through. I can't seem to control what is happening to my body, my thoughts, and stuff that comes from people online. There is so much pressure that I can barely breathe sometimes. Promise me, you won't give up on me. Promise me, you will still love me. It's a season of enormous change in my life. I'm learning how to become the person I'm created to be. I need you to hold on as I struggle through this season of life. No matter how much I complain, or how many times I forget to say good morning or good night, or how many times I give you the silent treatment. Don't quit on me. I love you, and I need you to love me. I think this is a powerful letter that tells us that our teens are struggling. A lot of times we think that they are trouble, but they are in trouble because they are growing in a world like this, not like the world that you and I grew up. So walk alongside them. But also, remember this verse, Psalm 127:1. Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain. Give your kids to the Lord and let Him guide them. Even though when they go to college, they're so far away, but God is with them. And lift up your family to them. Let's pray. Father, thank you. Thank you for this time that we can have so many parents to come to want to explore ways that we could help and to walk with our teenagers or preteens. Father, give us wisdom. Give us patience that we can really stand the tests of parenthood, especially in these turbulent years of our kids. Bless us and bless our families. And we pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you. You need to go pick up your kids.